intellectual stage of development. 3 and 4-year-olds, they have a limited vocabulary. Therefore, their learning is normally kinesthetic. You guys know what I mean by kinesthetic learning? Abby, what do I mean by kinesthetic learning? Okay. Aiden, do you know what I mean by kinesthetic learning? Jeffrey?
Learning by moving.
Learning by physical movement, right? There's auditory, learning by hearing, visualization, learning by seeing. Kinesthetic is learning by moving. I'm a kinesthetic learner. I do golf lessons at least twice a month, and when my golf instructors tell me what to do, I'm like, just show me. Let me actually do it. That's how I'm going to learn, right? So their learning is normally kinesthetic. Now think about it. Does anybody here speak another primary language at home besides English? What language do you speak?
Spanish.
Spanish?
Portuguese.
Portuguese. Oh, that's even harder. Portuguese. Okay. Where are you from?
Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. Okay. So, I took 4 years of Spanish in high school. If I came to Puerto Rico with your entire Spanish family and had dinner, and you guys are having a conversation and you guys speak faster than I do, right? Do you think I would be able to keep up with what you're saying? No, I would hear, casa, Pedro, blanco. I was like, the black dog went in the house, right? I get the gist of what you're saying, but I'm kind of being lost, right? All right. How many years, because we're in America, in English, how many years of English does a 3-year-old have? How many years of English does a 4-year-old have? 4. So when you're having a conversation, they may kind of understand what you're saying, but they're only getting the gist of it. They're not getting the comprehension and able to download and process it as fast as what you think. So when I say something like, Aiden, come on over here, and you're all 3 and 4-year-olds, and you get 5 of them to come up and go over, and you're like, no, dum-dums, I said just Aiden, right? They just heard, come over here. They saw Aiden get up, so they followed, right? Have you ever had that happen where you're doing a relay race with 3 and 4-year-olds in the line, and you say, okay, go, and it's only supposed to be the first person in line, but all of them run. And you're like, no, this is chaos, right? And then you start thinking, oh man, maybe I'm not cut out to work with 3 and 4-year-olds. And you go, it can't be me, it's gotta be the kids, they're just not smart enough. Actually, it's the parents. The parents aren't teaching them how to listen at home, right? It's true. So it's their intellectual stage of development. So when parents are saying, my child just doesn't listen in class, you give him a couple of commands and he's totally lost. You say, that's his intellectual stage of development. We understand that, and that's why we have a program for them, because what we want to do is we want to put them above their intellectual stage of development for their age group by doing these play-based games in the structured social environment. Now all of a sudden the parent finds value in that. It's no longer my kid wants to learn how to kick and punch and I bring him into your class to do kicking and punching. Now it's identifying their intellectual stage of development and helping them process information. So expectations. Lose focus when activities are overcomplicated or limited to verbal instructions. I've done this before. I think I did it with maybe Georgie, or I don't know. I'm trying to think of which kid it was. One kid, I was like, okay, run over there, grab the target, and I'm going to put 3 targets over there. And you just sat there and smiled at me. Was that you? Might have been you. Maybe Will. I think it was Will, right? Little Will Gordon, the one who's back now, oh, yeah. Right? And he just sat there and smiled and looked at me with the cutest eyes. I think I was thinking it's you because you have cute eyes. And he was just smiling at me. And I was like, intellectual stage of development, you have to actually show them how to do it. Struggle with commands that have more than two instructions. One of the things that we do here at our school, and a lot of SKILLZ schools do, is we don't just have them come in and take a free class. We do a pre-evaluation first. We run them through 8 skills that are appropriate for their stage of development to see where they are so that we can translate how our program's going to help them and where they're going to flourish. So we'll do things like, we'll say, for a 3 or 4-year-old, like for example, if Van was going through a pre-evaluation, all right, I want you to take 2 steps forward, 3 hops, and then 4 steps backwards, and see if they can do it. Chances are they're not going to be able to do it. They're going to get lost with the numbers and the formation or the compartmentalizing what they have to do. If you get a 3 or 4-year-old who can follow like 4 commands like that, what does that mean? They're above their intellectual stage of development for processing order, right? That's what a parent wants to hear. That's why we don't do forms with 3 and 4-year-olds. It's funny, one day I was on a phone call with this guy, and we didn't get in an argument, but he was like, because I said something about not doing forms on Facebook. So then we're talking on the phone, he's like, all my 3 and 4-year-olds can do forms. They all got 10-move forms. They all can do the 10-move form, no problem. was like, that's amazing. I was like, that means that they're all above their intellectual stage of development. Can I ask you how many kids you have in class? 3. That's why you only have 3 students, right? Because you're not targeting the stage of development for 3 and 4-year-olds. Yes, you will get 3 or 4-year-olds who can process order, but that's only going to be like 20% of the 3 and 4-year-olds. So out of every 10 kids, you're going to lose 8 of them because your curriculum is too hard or your expectations are too hard. Does that make sense? So you want to make sure that your bar is set for the average child, and then you'll get some anomalies. If you get a 3 or 4-year-old who can do 10 moves like that, they may even be ready for the 5 and 6-year-old class, depending on where they are physically, emotionally, and socially as well. Okay, intellectually also, they have no concept of spatial awareness. Therefore, they're going to drop things that are thrown to them and bump into people and obstacles often. Van does face catches all the time. You guys know what a face catch is? Toss the ball to Van. Here, catch it. It hits him in the face first, right? Because they don't understand spatial awareness. You ever give a 3 or 4-year-old the ball and stand right here and go, okay, throw it to me? You're going to get whacked. Because they're just going to go, whenever Van picks up something to throw at me, I run. Because I know that he doesn't have the spatial awareness. He thinks this is the same distance as this right here. And do not get on your knees and hold mitts by your face. Clayton's dying over there. Because Zachary Burrow, when he was in the 3 and 4-year-old class, I'm holding the pad right here, pop, knocked my tooth out. It already got knocked out in a tournament. That's a whole nother story. Knocked my tooth out. I think, Andrew, you were here too. I had to go to the dentist and get my tooth put back in. So you don't want to do that, right? You ever are teaching class and you feel this sharp pain on the back of your leg and you're like, what was that? And you look over and it's little Noah and he kicks you in the back of the leg and he's smiling like, ha ha ha, right? And you're like, why did you kick me? And you get angry sometimes or mad? No, that's just his intellectual stage of development. He doesn't understand the difference between soft and hard. All the time, I have PTSD at home because my son, if I'm not paying attention, he walks by and slaps me on the back or slaps me on the back of the head. Not because he's trying to be a little brat. It's because he doesn't understand the difference between soft and hard, right? And that's why they don't have spatial awareness. That's why catching is one of the skills that we do in our school. I had one martial arts instructor, we were talking, he's like, why are you catching? I said, because it teaches them spatial awareness. So that when they actually start self-defense and they start sparring, they understand distance. So catching helps them calibrate that. Okay, so your goals are follow verbal commands with no visual demonstration. If I was able to tell Van, I want you to go over and grab 3 of those dice and put 1 on each dot, and he's able to do it, that means he's above his intellectual stage of development for processing order. Perform a variety of commands, including multiple commands such as left punch and kick. If he understands his left and his right and does it multiple times, it's above his intellectual stage of development. And develop good spatial awareness by catching objects thrown from various directions and distances, and also rolling their bodies and objects with control. One of the things that I have been practicing with Van is first of all, he's got a little basketball hoop. He can't make it into the basket. He doesn't understand that. We also have little rings, and the other day when we were in the playground, I was having him roll the ball and try to get it into the ring to understand spatial awareness. Those types of activities are good for their intellectual development. So if you're running these drills, even if you're not a SKILLZ member and you're following me on Facebook, you see I post a lot of these games and activities in my groups, and you try them in class, and a parent says, why are they rolling a ball into a ring? You can now say, because I'm helping them develop intellectual development because they don't understand spatial awareness. This is helping their brain process distance, which is going to be something that they need for self-defense and sparring in the future. Now all of a sudden it makes sense, right?